All right, good morning, everyone. Yesterday we had to cut the class a little bit short, but we'll try to make it up today. Let's begin the class with charity. Charity. Charity saves, charity helps, charity brings the redemption, changes the world. We give what we have, we make ourselves into a vessel for what God has. There we go. Okay. So let's thank the creator of the universe that he's creating us and we're still here and that we're learning the Holy Torah and that we can understand at least a little bit. We make special prayers that God should should give us understanding. Understanding is a very, perhaps the most essential gift of all. If you don't understand what to do, then you haven't got free choice, right? Because you don't understand what the choices are, you don't understand why you should make it. So free choice is the essence of man, but you have to understand. So we're praying for understanding. And that's what we're trying to do here, is to try to understand a little bit about the world and why God created it, and why it's so important to God. Why is the world so important to God? And so we're saying, well, the first person that really asked themselves this question was Abraham. Abraham was the first person to really ask the question, why is there a world? Why is there a world? What's going on over here in the world? And he came to the conclusion that there's a creator and that the creator is creating the world. He's creating the world every moment, and that the world is not a separate entity from God, but God wants it to seem that way. And why this whole business? Why does God do it? In order that we should do what God wants. Which seems pretty simple. I mean, when you start to do it, you realize it's not. It's against human nature, and it's against the nature of the whole world. So Abraham, just to to solidify this message of how important the world is, so God made a covenant with Abraham to give him the land of Israel. The land of Israel. And when God made the covenant to give him the land of Israel, he also told him what land of Israel is going to be. And he even said the measurements of the place, and not the measurements, the boundaries. And the land of Israel is going to include all 10 kingdoms, which were in the time of Abraham. These were these 10 kingdoms that were there, and the Jews are going to get all of it. They're going to get the whole business. Well, today, that was 4,000 years ago. We still haven't gotten it. We still didn't get it. Figure God, he controls everything, right? That's the message of the Jewish people. If God controls everything, he can do whatever he wants. He chose the Jews. We're a special choice. We're a special choice. Later on, by Moses, we'll see that the word God's sons, right? God tells Moses, go into Paro and say, my sons, my chosen ones, those are the Jewish people. Let them out, they're my sons. So you figure, if they're God's chosen ones, and they're God's sons, and God promised, and he promised to Abraham. And what did he do? He just promised them a certain little plot of land. It didn't. God creates the whole universe. Take the size of the land that God promised Abraham. Right? Compare that to Jupiter or whatever it is. It's nothing. The solar system, right? That's absolutely nothing. The little part. Forget about the solar system. What about all the galaxies and the whole entire creation? God's creating everything, and he couldn't give Abraham a little plot of land. So God said, "Okay, stop. Okay, I'll give it to you. So here, take it." He says, "One second. You promised 10 lands. There's only 7. So I'll get to that. We've been waiting already for 4,000 years, and we haven't gotten those 3 extra areas of land that God said he was going to give us to us. He was going to give us 10 nations. He only gave us 7. Joshua conquered the land of Israel. Only got 7 to this very day. So what's going on? So says the Rebbe, not only that, I'll tell you even more. God promised Abraham that we're going to get the Torah. The Jewish people are going to get the Torah. They're going to be God's chosen people. And God only gave the external Torah. The Jewish people do not have the secrets of the Torah. There's only a few people, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, those people that really got the secrets of the Torah, and they taught them, and very few, if any, people really understand, what he was talking about. Right? It's basically the idea of Hasidut Chabad, to explain these parts of the Torah that God didn't give. Says, well, what's that got to do with the 3 nations that God promised? God promised 10 nations. He only gave us 7. So the Rebbe said it's the same thing with the Torah. God gave the Torah as it is now is mostly relevant to what we do. What we do. And the reason for doing it, the true godliness which is inside, that's three areas, Chachma, Bina, and Dat. That's like the three countries that God did not give to the Jews yet. The three, whatever areas, nations. So God was supposed to give 10 nations, he only gave 7. The same thing with the Torah. He was supposed to give a full 10 aspects of himself to the Jewish people, and he only basically gave 7. So we're waiting for these 3. And these 3, that's Chabad. That's the Gimel Mochin, that's the 3 aspects of the essence of 3 levels of awareness. So these 3 levels of Chabad, that corresponds to 3 levels of intellect. Intellect, you want to believe connection to God, let's say. But really it means connection to anything when it really comes down to it. Chachma is awareness. Awareness, not understanding anything, but you're aware. Excuse me. In regard to Judaism, it's called faith. Faith means you're aware that there's God, but you don't know what it is. You don't know what God is. You don't know what he does. I believe there's God. To the degree it says, it brings down in the Talmud, it's really in a book called Ayin Yaakov, and it says that a thief, maybe only a Jewish thief, a thief, before he goes to steal, he prays to God for success. So he believes in God. He has no faith. He has faith. But it doesn't come down into being to understand what are the repercussions of this faith. What's the implications? Not wrong word. Not what are the implications of this faith? If you really believe in God, you won't steal, because God says in the Torah, says, "Listen, I believe in God. That's for me. I believe in God. It's better than believing in anything else. What about? But how am I going to make money? Right? How am I going to make money? What's that got to do with me believing in God? I'm a thief. That's what God made me, a thief. So I'm going to steal. So in other words, you can have faith, chachma, and it doesn't come down into understanding how to put it into a proper order. Bina means understanding really what are the implications, all the details. If I believe in God, it means I have to learn the Torah. It says in the Torah I shouldn't steal, but that's really difficult. So it says, okay, but that's what it says. So you can become a big genius. You can have chachma. You know that there's God. You can even convince people that there's God. You can cry about God. You can write books about it and songs, right, about singing to God. And you can even understand it. You can explain ideas of Kabbalah and of Hasidut and the deepest things. But when it comes to actually doing it to yourself, so you become sort of very dangerous, because now you can do pretty much anything you want to, but you can explain it. And you can explain how this is really serving God. It's not really stealing. This is for the yeshiva. This is not really lying. It's for the rabbi. It's not really, it's for the cause. And so, the means justify the ends, but you know what the ends are. The ends are, God and the Torah and this. What about the means? That's dat. Chachma means a basic faith. Bina means understanding all of the implications and repercussions and details of that faith and bring it into your mind. You can explain and understand everything. But that means to actually bring it into your day-to-day life, to actually connect to it. And those 3 aspects of the Torah we really don't have yet. We really don't have yet. We understand the external, what God wants us to do, but the godliness which is in it, we don't really have the true faith, and we don't have the true understanding, and we don't have the true connection. Chachma bina dat, and that's what Chabad Hasidut is designed to bring. So that's why we learn about Abraham, because Abraham was a person that lech lecha means go out of yourself. Don't ever be satisfied with where you are spiritually. Never be satisfied. You should be happy, but never be satisfied. Happy with what you've got, yes, but don't be satisfied with what you've got. What we have is a big miracle, etc. But don't say, okay, that's it, I'm finished. Because the fact is, it's been 4,000 years since Abraham, and God has promised us the Torah and the land of Israel, and we only got the external of it. We didn't get the whole picture yet. We didn't get the whole picture. And when are we going to get when these other 3 are added on? Chachma, Bin, and Dad is added to the Torah, and the 3 extra lands of Israel are added on to the land of Israel. Okay. One of the teachings, Bapoil, one of the teachings actually, get my pointer over here. There we go. Excuse me 1 second. Let me just see something here. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't let you in here. Sorry, I didn't see you, Paul. I'm sorry. I didn't see you were waiting. Didn't see you were waiting. Good thing I looked. Used to be a thing would flash up over here, but it didn't. Okay. One of the teachings from all that we just said before. So again, just to sum up what I just finished saying, the purpose of Judaism is to show how important this physical world is. Here is where God gave the Torah. Here God wants to reveal his essence. Here is the Holy of Holies. Here will be the raising of the dead. That we'll talk about later. But let's talk about right now. Here, God cares about every detail that every person does. And even though that we're just creations and that we're really nothing, and that God is creating us miraculously every instant from absolutely nothing, which is a big miracle, but there's a bigger miracle, and that God really cares about what we do. And in between these two things, God carrying us and being created, there's responsibility. We have responsibility. That's the Torah. The Torah tells us what to do. And God reacts to that. But God wants to be revealed in the world. That's the thing of the Torah. Okay, but where are we right now? What are we supposed to do now? We've learned about all this, but what are we supposed to do? The Kol Echad V'Echad Yisrael, to every single Jew, there is an obligation of Lech Lecha, go out in learning Torah, La Pashala, to increase in your learning of Torah, Lechadesh the Torah, and to try to bring new ideas in the Torah. When you learn the Torah, what does it mean, new ideas in the Torah? When you learn the Torah, there should be questions. Questions are very, encouraged in Judaism. If you don't have any questions, it means you're not really interested. You're not really interested. Even if you're the biggest genius in the world, right, there could possibly be, the questions that you'll have will be genius questions. And even if you're the biggest simpleton in the world, you don't understand anything, it could be that your questions are even more genius than the genius questions because it's important to you. Huh? They say that Rashi, in one of the commentaries on the Torah, the main commentary on the Torah, Shlomo Yitzchaki, he only explains what a 5-year-old child would ask. So you have to ask. Asking is very important. Okay. So when you have a question in the Torah and you look around and you find the answer, that's called something new in the Torah. That's called something new. It could be that it's been done before and the same question has been answered and the same answer has been given, right? Could be. But nevertheless, you write it down. Write it down. I had a question in the Torah, right? Why did God speak to Abraham? Why doesn't he speak to me? And I looked and I tried to find, and I found that maybe this is the answer, maybe this is the answer. You can bring stupid answers that don't make any sense, right? And say, okay, maybe this is not the right answer, but this is what I found, right? I mean, don't take yourself too seriously. But your questions you have to take seriously. Take a rabbi. A lot of times things that you think are really foolish questions are excellent questions. And the answers can be very, very deep. And there's a lot of questions that have no answers, that don't have any answers, right? The Rebbe said himself, we've done everything necessary, we filled everything. Why isn't the Moshiach already here before? The Rebbe said, I got no answer. Maybe we haven't done enough. Maybe we're not happy enough. Maybe the Tanya should be translated into Braille. All sorts of questions are necessary. So that's called to make new ideas in the Torah. New ideas in the Torah means when you have a question, is you come up with an answer. And that for you is the Torah becomes alive. Chadash, new. Chadash means new also. Afilu im Yehudi, even if a Jew learned, and he learned already a lot of the Torah, Harbe Torah, Tamid Shayach, it's always relevant, lahosif bezet, to add and learn more Torah. Ad ba'ofen shel chidush, until a way that's new. New. Shekein a Torah, because the Torah, heino beli gavul, because the Torah is unlimited. Arucha me'eretz midah. The Torah is not just there to tell you what to do. It's also to tell you how to do it. It's also to tell you what not to do. Also, how not to do it. Why not to? why should I not light a fire on Shabbos? Why? Because Shabbos is holy. What does that mean that it's holy? What's it got to do with me? What if I light a match? Shabbos is not going to be holy anymore. What does it mean? Right? Good question. Ask the question. Try to look for an answer. Ask people. But Yotam can even more because the Torah is the wisdom of God, the Creator who's creating you. Harikolim Yim Torah, everything in the Torah, Noten the Torah gives the power to give birth to new ideas in the Torah. Ad Ein Sof, without any end. Just think, God is creating a human being. There's constantly renewed ideas on how to improve in health in the world. How to improve in health, how to be less, they say, nervous, how to be more calm, how to be more practical, etc. How to find more meaning in life. There's no end to it. That's just a human being creation. The Torah is infinitely more real. If so, by learning Torah, when you walk, that's Abraham. God told Abraham, Lech, go, continue, and you renew the Torah itself. It could be in a lot of ways. You can go in a way of learning Torah, which is something comparable to how you did it yesterday. And there's also a lot of different levels. That's the teaching of Lech Lecha. Go when God said to Abraham, Lech Lecha, to the land I will show you. This is not just Abraham should go, he should move gradually and become more and more holy and more. No, it was a true going, true walking means spiritual, means shalom be'erach, totally leaving the place where you were before and coming to a totally new place. That's really what walking means. Good. It's not jumping. It doesn't mean you have to lift up both legs at the same time. You leave one leg back where you were and you put one leg forward, right? But when you secure the place forward, then you move that back leg. In other words, you want to improve yourself. You want to become more mature. You want to become more happy, more pleasant, more alive. So the way to do it is you eventually have to jump totally out of where you are. But you don't have to jump. You can put one leg forward, but your goal is to totally leave what you were and to be a new person. How can you do it? There's examples. You can look around and find other rabbis, other examples, the people that they're happy with life, but nevertheless they know the whole Torah and they encourage others. Sheyotzi, you have to go completely out of what you were. And the Rebbe is telling us that it's possible. That's the thing. It is possible. There's a lot of people I learned for, even a couple of years about addictions, people that were addicted and how to get out of it. There's the 12-step program and stuff like this. But the point, one of the big points of these, a person that's addicted is that he thinks there's no alternative. He thinks he's stuck and he can't get out. They call it helpless, that he's helpless. That's what he thinks. He thinks that he's helpless. He can't get out. That's it. I'm just finished. The best I can do is just alleviate my pain, take another drink, take another shot, take another this. Right? He thinks there's no alternative. He can't be a different person. That's who I am. The Rebbe is saying that this is the condition of man. That's the human condition. How they say that's the nature of man. Man finds his comfort zone or whatever you want, and he's afraid to leave. He doesn't want to leave, right? He doesn't want to leave where he is. Why? He starts to convince himself there's no alternative. Here's the Rebbe saying there definitely is an alternative. And there's constantly an alternative. In fact, that's your job. A human being is supposed to be lech lecha. He's supposed to constantly be improving himself, being a different person. The reason you have bad character traits, anger, depression, etc., because you get stuck in where you are. And you don't think there's any alternative. A lot of times it's very difficult to get out of it. But knowing that there is hope, that's 50%, 20%, 5% of the solution. Right? But there is a solution. That's the point. And the Rebbe is saying that's the whole essence of what man is. Lech lecha. And it was begun by Abraham. Go out of your limited, false, small self and become more real. Become connected to the Creator. Afilu regilus to kedusha. Even if you have habits which are of holiness, right? You pray this much time. You do this. Even if you made up new ideas in the Torah before, never be satisfied with where you are. That's what the Rebbe is trying to say. And the Rebbe is trying to tell us that there's an alternative to where you are, something much better. You have to believe in that. But Cain, and also and also from the how do you say, your your way of life and your thoughts that you thought before, or the answers that you had before, till you reach to what's called the land that I show you. This God said, I will reveal Abraham, you yourself. In your very business. That's what God said to Abraham. Now you're in when you're in Or Kasdim, so you're successful and you're rich and you're famous and etc. And you're serving God, right? And God said, that's not you have no idea what's waiting for you. What's waiting for you? Go out from where you are. I know you're in a good situation, but leave, go out. There's something much better. Then you'll find your true self at the true potential. And that's the thing of Moshiach. The idea of Moshiach is to reveal the true potential in every human being to improve the world. Improve the world. Even of the concealed powers. I'll tell you a short story. I'll tell you a story now because I don't want to forget it. Every day I go, since the war started, every day I go to a nearby hospital and I stand outside and I ask people to put on tefillin. And a lot of people put on. Anyway, so I also go, there's certain waiting tall halls where people are waiting. And so I asked them to put on tefillin. So I was putting on tefillin on one person. I saw there was a boy and a girl, and it looked very clearly that the boy, he was maybe 15 years old, but he had Down syndrome. You could see clearly that he had Down syndrome, but maybe it was a bit mild. It didn't look, but you could see it was a Down syndrome. And sitting next to him was a sister who was maybe, 12, something like that. And she also had Down syndrome. You could see their face looked, a little bit. Anyway, so I saw he was looking at me. So I walked over to him. I said, would you like to put on tefillin? And he said, yeah. So he put on tefillin. And his sister was watching me, very serious, very serious look on her face. And he put on the tefillin and he said, Shema. And I turned to her and I smiled. And she gave me a smile back. I've never seen anything in my life. It was a true smile. First of all, maybe she was smiling because somebody smiled at her. I don't know how many people smile at her. I don't know. Whatever it is, she gave me a smile that maybe if I tried, I would have a smile like that. It was just so amazing, just thinking about it. And he also, the same thing with the boy. I said to them, both of them, I said, you are really, you're really good people. I said, you have to don't let anybody ever make you sad. You should always be happy because you're very good people. And she said, oh yes, I try to help people. I really try. And he says, yes, I help my mother. You saw some purity and humanness that you can't find anywhere else. To get to such a level of purity, I mean, maybe somebody else could tell me, but that I could never. I don't know what to say. But that's what I'm saying. To reveal who you really are. That's what the Rebbe says. Who you really are. Sometimes the simplest people have powers. Viktor Frankl writes, sometimes there are people that are schizophrenic. They're totally out of it, mentally ill. So sometimes the sweetness and the honesty of these people is indescribable. It's indescribable. You could learn from that just worlds of what, how good God is. Why they had to be in such situations, I don't know. But it was just something purely godly. I can't explain it. So, there's also sometimes with music, you can see that, but it's nothing. You can't find this humanness in anything, anywhere else. And that's what's concealed in every single human being. Every single human being, something good. And one smile like that, it can save a person from jumping off of a bridge, or it can give a person new ideas. When people have happiness and they realize that the world is worth living in. Similarly, and the powers themselves. Not just to reveal the 7 emotions and the intellect, which is relevant to them, but also to reveal the essence of consciousness, reveal the essence of awareness, the essence of godliness, which is in the Torah, and which consequently is in all the whole creation, because the world is created from the Torah. But Davka B'zeh, and only in this, is the whole novelty of what God said to Abraham, Lech Lecha. Go out from the land where you are and go to the place, Areka, I am going to show you. I'll show you who you really are. Avodat Adam The service of a person usually is by means of using his how do you say his powers, his talents that he has, natural talents. Natural talents, my intellect, right? They take an IQ test, they take an EQ test, they take a test to know how intelligent you are, to know what type of challenges can you meet the challenges of this job? Should we give something hard, something easy? Maybe you should just be a sweep the floors. Maybe you should be a brain surgeon. Take that's who you are. They measure who you are. That's nothing new about this. Shari Elohim kochos sheyesh lo. These are the things that a person has. And he knows that he's got. Memela, so therefore, move and it's understood. She'alav lenatzel. You should use the talents and abilities that you've got, qualities that you have. Similarly, also the same thing is we have talents, abilities that we don't know we have. They're concealed, but they're concealed in a way that it's relevant to be revealed. Relevant, like I told you the story about this girl. She smiled, right? The smile of the girl. It was there. It was concealed, but it was, as soon as I smiled at her, she smiled back. Ain said, this is not such a big novelty. The reason God created man is not just to reveal what he's aware of. The real true novelty of man is when a person reveals inside of himself talents, powers, abilities, senses, which are so high that nobody, including himself, he didn't know that they existed. That he has such powers. It used to be they used to have stories. I don't know if there is such a thing like this. Maybe now that they have, there's videos about everything. The old grandmother, she's like 90 years old. She weighs like 100 pounds. And a tractor falls on her grandson, right? And she runs out, and the thing weighs like, 20 tons. And she lifts it up, and with the other hand or with something, she pushes something in her foot, and she saves the boy. The lady, it's hard for her to lift up a salt shaker, but when her grandson or whatever is caught under the truck, she lifts the whole thing up. And okay, are those stories true or are they not true? I don't know. I mean, I've heard so many of them that, maybe I exaggerated, not like a truck or a tank, but a car. In other words, new things. She didn't know why she had such powers. To lift up a car weighs how much? 1,000 pounds, 500 pounds. How much it weighs? And this lady, she can barely lift herself out of bed. And when it's all of a sudden there's a problem, she can lift the whole thing up. What power she didn't know that she had. Ad eshemit palim, the person is amazed. Where did he get such powers? But kasheru and not so. When he uses these powers to make new ideas in the Torah, right? He has a question. He starts to think. All of a sudden he gets, maybe it's like this. Maybe over here. Then this is what lech lecha. That's what it means. Lech lecha, to the land what I will show you. In other words, going means you reveal who you really are. That's truly moving out of who you were to becoming a totally new person. I didn't know that that's who I was. I couldn't. Okay, shame. Just like it's. 1 second. There's somebody. Oh, 2 people are waiting. Oh, excuse me. 1 second. What's going on over there? 2 Abbas are waiting. Here we go, Abba. Another Abba. You're still waiting? 1 minute. What's going on? Okay. I saw the 3 Abbas are waiting. I think it's the same one. Oh, I don't know. Okay. Good. Everybody in? Yes. Just like it's relevant to learning Torah, also it's relevant to here previous the Rebbe was talking about learning Torah. The examples I gave were not exactly that, but that's what the Rebbe is talking about. You learn Torah, you get new ideas in the Torah, right? And it's good to write down. Now, like I said, a lot of times these ideas can be wrong, totally wrong. But nevertheless, write them down, present them to other people. People will say to you, no, it can't be so. It's something else. So don't give up. Keep trying, keep writing. Even if it's just for yourself, even if it's just between you and God, right? You have to be prepared to be corrected. But if you didn't bring the idea out, it could be you would never be corrected. You'd go your whole life and with misconceptions about what the world is about, what the Torah is about. And just like it has to be also in learning Torah, so it also has to be in regarding to making pupils, including and also to gather up people to learn Torah. Children, for instance, that this has to be in a way of going, really walking and going in a way that's brand new. The Rebbe had, this was years ago. What was it? It was 30, more than that. 40 years ago, the Rebbe said you should gather up children and say with them 12 sentences from the Torah. Torah, Tziva, Lana, Moshe, and etc. and teach the little children, little children, and you give them candies, give them whatever. As a result of that, I think now today in Israel, I don't think there's any children that don't know what Shema Yisrael is. I remember 40 years ago, I think I told you the story, but 40 years ago, I learned in a kollel. It was a place for married people. And me and another fellow there, we went out in the break. We went out to the streets, and they used to bring. It was a city in Israel where they would bring children, whole groups of children, to look, to see things, whatever it was. So we would take these children into the synagogue. We'd ask because they brought them to see in the city. They had like two places. This is a place where Herzl lived, and this is a place where, who knows, Balfour or something like that. There's something. Anyway, so the kids basically, the whole tour that they had lasted for them about a half an hour, and they were there for like an hour and a half. So they had absolutely nothing to do. So we said, how would you like to come to the synagogue? So they came into the synagogue, and we would talk to the kids. And these were non-religious children. And we'd say, okay, say after us sentences. Shema, they would say Shema, Yis, Yis. They didn't know how to say Shema Yisrael. They did not know how to say Shema Yisrael. We said to them, okay, now say one more sentence, and we'll open up the ark and take out the Torah, Aron HaKodesh. I said, does anybody know what's behind this curtain from the ark? Everybody knows it's a Sefer Torah. The children said, television? They didn't know. They had never seen a Sefer Torah. Jewish kids. And this is like third grade. They never saw. Now there's no such thing in Israel. No, there's no such thing. The Rebbe said, gather up children, at least teach them to say Shema Yisrael. Every child in Israel knows how to say Shema Yisrael. Of course, that's just the beginning. Kolomar, Nosef, in addition to simply that you have to add on pupils that you have, the number of pupils, and never to be satisfied with what you've got, even if you all do already have a lot of pupils, in other words, people that you taught Torah to. Harry calls them on all the time that you have a possibility to reach more Jews until all of the different types of Jews, and especially now where you have a YouTube and you have all these things where you can give a class at home and you don't know if anybody's listening to it. And suddenly you realize there's 50 people, 100 people, 1,000 people. They can learn your Torah, then you should do it. Simply, Michael Marshall, it's obvious. Teach as many people Torah as possible. Expose them to the Torah. And especially, and that constantly you have to add on more children that become 13 years old and girls that become 12 years old, that you're going to have a shpia, that have an effect on them, that they should join in learning Torah. Girls also should learn the Torah. It's not the same commandment as learning the Torah, but they're Jews, and Jews also, Jewish women, they have to know what to do. And we're talking about learning very simple things. We're not talking about teaching them Talmud or something, which is a question if women should learn Talmud or not. Okay, it's a question when it's not, that's forbidden, but it's a question. But here we're talking about simple things that everyone should learn. Says the Rebbe, it's relevant to teach everyone, all the Jewish children, something about the Torah. Similarly, also in adding on not just the quantity, but the quality, deeper understanding, deeper grasping. There's so many beautiful classes on from all the different types of Jews, from the Litvische Jews and from the Sephardic Jews and from the Kabbalistic Jews. For this, the Chabad is a whole world of classes that there are. Learning Torah, right? There's classes. I know of like 10 classes in Talmud, finishing Daf Yomi. I'm sure there's probably 100 at least. Before to bring that there should be that every pupil should be an excellent pupil, and they should bring new ideas in the Torah. Everybody should have new questions and new answers. Harigamze also, this is a novelty, that on every single person there's an obligation to increase learning Torah. What does it mean increase? Walk, true walking. This is when the learning in the Talmud, the ideas that you get are not just from your regular normal understanding, but all of a sudden pops into your mind new ideas. Like it's understood that the how do you say, the litmus test of this, the Eben Bochen, is who lohu atzmo, not himself, that because of sometimes you're so busy, or because you love yourself, your person favors himself. Sometimes a person can make big mistakes, but also other people take your Torah ideas and give them to other people and say, what do you think about this? What do you think about my ideas? Right? Present them. Yes. But nevertheless, Nosefet Hadgasha Miucheret B'Doreinu Zu, especially in our generation, according to what we said before, that our generation especially, this is the last generation of exile and the first generation of the redemption. Nimset Hadgasha, there is a very special emphasis on Lech Lecha, leaving yourself, going out of your nature, of your habits, of your what you think is your identity, to a new land that I show you. Like God told Abraham. That's why we're learning about it in the Torah, to empower us and encourage us to do the same as Abraham did. Kenyan kol eser aratzot. Now the Rebbe is saying our generation is going to be not just the metaphorical implications and personal implications, the actual physical, real, geopolitical implications. God is really going to give the Jews all of the land of Israel, all 10 lands that he promised to Abraham. Shadavar, that this has to be nishtakef b'kol l'rosh ba'avoda me'ayin zel shel Yehudi. If so, receiving these other 3 lands, it's not just a geographical thing or a political thing, it's a godly thing. It's serving the Creator. And the closer we become to Moshiach, the more work we have to do, the more potential for accomplishing things is revealed inside of us. So therefore, by means of our adding on, learning Torah, not just according to the intellect that we have now, as it is, but looking at the Torah from the Moshiach point of view, how to find Moshiach in every detail of the Torah. Shezem Yuchad, and there's the true essence of what is every Jew and the true essence of what is man in every word of the Torah. And the essence of man is responsibility. To find new responsibilities and new jobs for us to do in the Torah. And this is especially by means of we added on learning the inside of the Torah, the ideas of expressed in Chassidut. Again, the ideas expressed in Chassidut, it's not intellectual Kabbalistic ideas which teach you, that's also true. You can learn Chassidut. The main thing about Chassidut is to bring these ideas into action, to do the commandments. That's the main thing. The commandments are the main thing. The commandments are the main thing of Judaism. That's the body of Judaism. It's like giving birth to a child with no body. There's no body. It's just a soul. Right? Congratulations, you've given birth to a Jewish soul. Where is it? Soul. What's wrong with you? You don't know what a soul is? You can't see a soul. So that's not a baby. The same thing, Judaism with just Kabbalah and interesting and emotions, and crying and weeping. That's not Judaism. Judaism is the commandments. But the commandments alone, it says it's like a body with no soul. That's on life support, right? A body with you have to put more life into it, and that's the Torah. That's the emotions, but especially the essence, intellect, connecting to God, because to God the most important thing is this physical world. That's the message of Abraham. That's how we started this class. So you're supposed to learn ideas of the inside of the Torah, to express them in action, and including ideas of the future redemption and the Mashiach. May it be God's will, Yehi Ratzon, that by means of adding on in learning about Lech Lecha and also activating that inside of ourselves, it will arrive immediately. Lech Lecha me'artzecha, the Jews will really be gathered to the land of Israel from the whole 4 corners. It says Mashiach is going to change nature of people. People will be a little bit less selfish, and they'll be a little bit more aware of the Creator, and they'll want to serve the Creator. And Mashiach will facilitate this. He'll bring the 3rd temple down from heaven, Mikdash Hashem Konan Yadecha, and all the Jews will say, wow, now I can really serve God. It'll gather them all to the land of Israel. Holachim Kulam, all of them will go to the land that God promised to Abraham, the land that I showed you. Arka L'Rachba, that Abraham walked the length and the width, the whole land of Israel. He claimed it, took a claim, staked his claim in the land of the Keni and the Kenizi and the Kadmoni. This will which we will receive from the non-Jews in a way of a peaceful way, a friendly way from the non-Jews, like we talked about before. These are the three lands that we're going to conquer. It's not that we're going to conquer them by means of a war or bloodshed. We're going to conquer them by means of peace and understanding. How so? The nations will say, listen, you see, you Jewish people, you have a real leader that really cares about us, truly cares about us, and is interested that we should never have any war. You be the leaders. You Jewish people, you be leaders. We'll pay taxes. We'll do whatever you want to. We want to live in a world where we're not looking forward to dying, right? We're not looking forward to die. All these other religions are talking about when you die, you're gonna see that we were right. When you die, right? I'm not looking forward to dying. The main point is that living in the world in a peaceful way, Moshiach will be able to do it. To reveal the potential of every human being, Moshiach will do it. The non-Jews will say, take us, rule over us. Right? America, Africa will say, rule over us. The Jews will say, we don't want to rule over you. We want to rule only over the 10 lands that God promised us. We promise you that from here will be an example and an influence to the whole entire world. That'll be the revelation of the new Torah from me. The Torah is the blueprint of the world. We don't feel that. Mashiach will make it that we do feel it. In a way that this will spread out into the whole entire world, not just the Jews, like the prophecy of Isaiah and Maimonides brings it in the end. Rambam. The world will be filled with the awareness of God like water fills the ocean. Also, the non-Jews, lo ye'aseh kol olam, like the Rambam says, the world will only be interested in knowing God alone. To feel, how can I do more to make the world a better place, a more happy place, a godly place, a live place full of meaning. That's what the interest of every single non-Jew will be. I think to a degree we're seeing there's people that are like that today. They're really genuinely trying to make the world a good place without any war, without any that. I mean, I hope so. I hope that was the result of the American elections, right? American elections. I don't want to go into it too much because I don't play, but you see, there's this fellow, was it Kennedy, right? He's really interested in making the world a healthy place, making America a healthy place, right? He's really interested. This guy Musk, he really wants to make the world a practical place, that everyone should have work, everyone should benefit, everyone should, right, etc. I don't want to go into it too much, but this is just what it seems to me, that that's the way the world is supposed to be, right? To reveal potential. There's amazing potential in Africa. There's millions. I don't know how many people live in Africa. 1 billion people live in Africa, right? And everybody, even the United Nations, they don't care about these people. They're black. Who cares about them? It's insane. These people have tremendous potential for good, for harmony, for love. There's some of this, the speakers, excellent, amazing speakers. I mean, the most famous one was Martin Luther King, but they have all these people, this guy Peterson, other people. I watch some of these people. They're wonderful. And they speak from the heart, and they really, speak the truth. But the main thing is that they're constructive. That's the whole thing. In construction, there's no end to it. Destruction, once you destroy something, it's gone. But once you build something, you can always add on. And that's what the world is about. And that's what the Torah is about. And then it says God will be the ruler. The creator will be happy with his creation. By means of this, also all the parts of the world, all the aspects of the world, mineral, plant, animal, will be revealed the power of the creator and the creation. When we say in our prayers, then all the trees, I say, Yorananu Atse Yoar. It says even the trees in the jungles, in the forests, will sing to God. Trees going to sing to God. What are you talking about? What are they going to sing? Right? They're going to sing, but maybe they won't. They'll be competing, with battle of the bands, the tree bands. What are they going to sing? What are they going to do? We'll find out. But they'll sing gratitude to God that he's creating them. It says even more, even the stones, Evan Mikir Tizak. It says that stones will cry out. Every stone will have a message to it. Similarly, it says the figs will also, the animals. There's a poem which is called Pirak Shira, which I think that or King David wrote it, or King Solomon wrote it. I think King David wrote it. The Perek Shira, anyway, it tells about all the different animals and the things, the creations of God. What song they sing? Usually, it's songs from the Psalms. Everything is sing. Alachas, how much more medaber human beings? Like it says, every creation will know that this is from our prayers in Rosh Hashanah. We pray that God, that all creation should know that God, you create them. And every formation should know, God, that you're forming them. And everything that's alive will say, the God of the Jews is creating the world. And there's nothing except for him. That all the whole world will become a dwelling for God in this physical world and all the spiritual worlds as well. They'll be revealed higher worlds than them. From, let's say, Etzel of from the world of Atzilus. Anyway, from Lech Lecha, we come to next week, Vayera. In Vayera, this is the completion. Vayera, God revealed himself to Abraham. That will be a complete revelation, a whole total perfect revelation of the Creator and the creation. Then your eyes will see your teacher, souls and bodies. And that's the whole purpose of the creation, souls and bodies, healthy and complete. And the main thing is that it should happen right now, immediately. So it's up to us just to increase a little more, do a little more good. Jews learn a little more Torah, do more good deeds, and God has to do the rest. Huh? God has to do the rest. We're doing our part. So God has to do the rest. Now, story. Yom. 1 second. Oh, here it is.